Back, True Seeker. Want to talk about the NFL playoff picture now that the regular season's over. If you follow my blog, I said let's see what teams are 13-3 by the time Week 17 concludes. We have two teams from the AFC and two teams from the NFC, and teams I've been talking about all year and even before the season began. Last year, when Super Bowl 51 concluded, I put out a reason why we might see Tom Brady and the Patriots in Super Bowl 52 as well. It had everything to do with his 62 pass attempts in Super Bowl 51. He's just won the regular season passing record for this year by a margin of 62 yards. We're also going to talk about what that number has to do with Jimmy Garoppolo, who's just become 7-0 as an NFL starter. But let's begin with 13-3, the upcoming Super Bowl, Super Bowl 52, to be hosted in Minnesota. In the language of gematria, Minnesota sums to 52, as well as 133, which is a lot like 13-3. This offseason, when Dan Rooney died April 13th, 2017, Dan Rooney died 98 days before his 85th birthday. And I said then, if I'm wrong about the Patriots, it could be the Steelers, because this is the 98th season of the NFL. It's also the Steelers' 85th season. Dan Rooney died 98 days before his 85th birthday on a very specific day to the Steelers. He died on the 103rd day of the year. In the language of gematria, Steelers equals 103. That said, the 98 is really with the Patriots more than any other team. New England Patriots equals 98. Patriots alone equals 98. Tom Brady equals 98. Tom Brady became the starter at Michigan in 98. Big number for the Patriots and Tom Brady. Tom Brady, the small way, also sums to 35. His first playoff game this year will be the 35th of his career, and the Super Bowl's on the 35th day of the year. So anyway, Steelers, one of the teams that finished 13-3, and notice they won 28-24, 52 combined points. The starting quarterback for the Steelers also had 239 passing yards, which is the 52nd prime number. Remember, they announced that Justin Timberlake would be the halftime performer 239 days before Super Bowl 52. 239, the 52nd prime. We've been talking about how in history there was a bank robber, Jesse James, like the Steelers tight end. Jesse James did his final bank robbery in Minnesota, and he was chased by Sheriff Timberlake. Can you believe that? It's true. Look it up. Jesse James, the bank robber, final bank robbery in Minnesota, chased by Sheriff Timberlake. So there's a narrative for the Steelers to upset the Patriots. Again, from the day they shut down Big Ben the clock in the UK to the date of the Super Bowl is 167 days. 167 is the 39th prime. Big Ben equals 39. If Big Ben Roethlisberger, won this Super Bowl, he'd be 16-7 in the playoffs. So a lot lines up for the Steelers, but a lot also lines up for the Patriots. And what we find every year when we get down to the championships is we find how there's major narratives for usually two teams. And still, what I do not know is if it's possible that the Super Bowl is scripted for more than one team to control Vegas outcomes. Maybe a lot of money gets put on one team, so they shift to the other narrative. The way these things are scripted so tightly year after year as we demonstrate, there's a lot of room for that argument to be true. I expected the Eagles to lose to the Cowboys. They did, because I thought the Eagles would fall to 13-3. In week 3 of this year, I bumped the Eagles up to my favorite team to represent the NFC in the Super Bowl. If you missed all that, it was based on Donald Trump taking on the flag. And I predicted the Eagles would be 10-1 after their week 3 game. They did become 10-1. That's because Philadelphia equals 101. So does the word church. It's the Church of Philadelphia in the Bible. This entire code of letters and numbers is biblical, comes from Kabbalah, which is based in the Bible. Philadelphia, biblical name. Football on Sunday, Christian day of worship. Anyhow, notice the Eagles lost with 6 points. Or the Cowboys scored 6. They lost 6-0. If you write out 6 as a word, it sums to 52. Eagles fall to 13-3. In case you forgot what happened with Donald Trump taking on the flag and the players protesting, that happened September 23rd, 23/9, a lot like 239, the 52nd prime. The flag was sewn in Philadelphia at 239 Arch Street. Donald Trump has the same birthday as the flag, June 14th. The flag was 239 years old when Trump became president. Think about how his competitor Hillary Clinton had her convention in Philadelphia. Philadelphia used to be the nation's capital. The word flag also has gematria of 26. 101's the 26th prime. Part of the reason I said the Eagles would be 10-1. If the AFC wins the Super Bowl, it'll be the 26th Super Bowl win for the AFC. Now check this out. As I've been talking about all year, Tom Brady could become 6-2 in Super Bowls in Minneapolis, which equals 62. He had 62 passing attempts in the last Super Bowl. If he becomes 6-2, the AFC will win its 26th Super Bowl. And think about how Tom Brady's entire scripted career began against the New York Jets, right after the Patriot Act, after Jets fell into the New York Towers. Mo Lewis sacked Drew Bledsoe. Anyway, 26th AFC Super Bowl win, Tom Brady 6th. Entirely possible. The date couldn't be any more perfect for Tom Brady. Super Bowl 52. Patriots also finished 6-2 at home with this win. You see? Somebody caught, it wasn't me who caught this, somebody else did catch, but I had to check to see if it was true. He said that this year Tom Brady won the passing yards record for quarterbacks, and he won by 62 yards. And look, Phillip Rivers in second place with 45-15, Tom Brady with 45-77. The man born in 77. Remember, Terry Glenn equals 77. Dead 77 days from the Super Bowl, the man who Tom Brady threw his first touchdown pass to. But that's a difference of 62 yards. Number we've been talking about all year, since last Super Bowl. You know? Minneapolis, 62. If the AFC Championship's New England and the Steelers, think about how New England beating the Steelers would be New England advancing over the team that's 6-2 in Super Bowls. You see? The Steelers could potentially win their 7th Super Bowl this year. Super Bowl 52, the numerology of 52 is 5 plus 2 is 7. You know? Then again, you win number 6. 6 has gematria of 52. That's why it's hard to tell. Both the Steelers and Patriots, 6-2 at home this year. You know? The other team, 13-3. The team that's going to host the Super Bowl, Minnesota. And remember, Vikings alone equals 98, like the 98th season of the NFL. I pointed out last year when Denny Green died, July 21st, 2016. Denny Green died 155 days after his 67th birthday. U.S. Bank Stadium equals 155. They opened U.S. Bank Stadium to the fans the next day, July 22nd. From the day Denny Green died to the day that the Vikings played their first game, which was September 11th, 2016, that was 52 days later. You see? He died the day before opening the stadium that's going to host Super Bowl 52. Died 155 days after his birthday, U.S. Bank Stadium, 155. I said then, Denny Green, former coach of Minnesota, I said there's never been a team to play in their own Super Bowl in their own city. Could Minnesota be the first? And then that year, the Minnesota coach was wearing a t-shirt that said, "Be the first." So, Minnesota, a team that I've been saying since last year to watch out to potentially be in this Super Bowl. You know, all these shills who troll my channel, they all write the same lie in the comments. They say I picked the Vikings to be in the Super Bowl last year. That's not true. I never picked the Vikings to be in the Super Bowl last year. I said that they could be in this Super Bowl. That's what I said. And look, they have a chance to be in the Super Bowl. That said, based on the riddles I've seen this year, I favor the Eagles, even though they don't have Carson Wentz. Remember, Nick Foles ends the 14th letter, F's the 6th. N-F 14-6. What's the flag's birthday? 14/6. You see? If you missed last week's radio show, we broke down the Raiders' Christmas Day game and how well that coordinated with the Super Bowl. So here's the other piece. The Patriots traded Jimmy G to the 49ers this year. And I talked about the day of his trade, how perfect it was. Jimmy Garoppolo equals 77. He was traded October 30th, 2017. A date was 77 numerology. If you write out 77 as a word, it sums to 49. Just like how 7 times 7 is 49. The square root of 49 is 7. Jimmy G became 7-0 as a starter in week 17. 17's the 7th prime number. Things I all talked about before the game was played this week. I said, look for Jimmy G to become 7-0. It makes a lot of sense. 34 points scored. What's the numerology of 34? 3 plus 4 is 7. 13's the 7th Fibonacci number. LA equals 13. But look at this. The day Jimmy G was traded to the 49ers is the day leaving 62 days left in the year. And he became 7-0 62 days after the trade. How perfect. How perfect. It's all scripted. It's just like last year. See, everybody wants to troll in the comments. You picked the Colts to win the Super Bowl last year. See, everybody who writes this shit are paid for disinformation agents. They want to try to find the things that I was wrong about. I picked the Colts about 6 months before the season even began. And I said if I'm wrong about the Colts, it'll probably be the Patriots. The week 1 game of last season where Jimmy G started because Brady was suspended. Remember, the Patriots were 13.5-point underdogs. I guaranteed the Patriots were going to win that game. And I showed how it lined up with Jimmy G perfectly through the number 77. And I also talked about how they played in Phoenix on the 112th Meridian. Super Bowl 112, Houston 112, who hosted the last Super Bowl. I said from week 1 on, the way things were lining up, it looked like the Patriots might appear in the Super Bowl over the Colts. Then the next time, I think their next game, it was either week 2 or week 3, Patriots played against Houston, and I showed how that had perfect alignment with the upcoming Super Bowl in Houston. Guaranteed the Patriots would win that one even though they were underdogs. Patriots won. Week 4, when Brady came back, or after he came back after his 4-game suspension, it was against Cleveland Browns, and that night, the Simpsons cartoon released the episode about Brady and the Patriots. I showed how it was perfectly aligned with the Super Bowl, and I said, plug the Patriots in, but don't write off the Colts. The Colts still have an underdog chance. Everybody who trolls in the comments is just a full of shit loser. I spelled out last year everything about the season, guaranteed the Patriots were going to win the Super Bowl by the time the playoffs started. You know, I have called pretty much every sports championship correctly from early in the season. That's undeniable. Just did it again with the World Series, did it again with the NBA Finals, did it with men's college basketball. You know, I haven't picked a championship incorrect since I became aware of this knowledge. You know? Actually, I take that back. There's only been one time, and it wasn't that bad either, because it was the first time the Warriors and Cavs met in the finals. Early in that season, I said why it would be Warriors and Cavs, but I did pick the Cavs to win. I said that they'd win the series 4-2. I got it flipped. The Warriors ended up winning it 4-2. But then I saw where my mistake was wrong, and I guaranteed it'd be a rematch the next year, and the Cavs would win. Exactly what did happen. So, you know, my haters are just fucking pathetic people. No one has ever shown or taught how sports are scripted. I've done that. You know, who in the history of the world's ever said things like, North Carolina's going to beat Gonzaga and it's all about 71, and then lo and behold, North Carolina beats Gonzaga with 71 points. Said that before the tournament even began. You know, how many times have I called the right score in addition to the championship? My haters are the most pathetic fucking people. It's not hard to see who they work for. They sit on my blog, they sit on every video, and they just try to make up shit to make me look bad, you know? And look, they have to go through all these years, and the only thing they can ever say is, You picked the Vikings and Colts, which isn't even true. These people are a fucking joke. Here's what I've been doing, showing how sports are rigged every fucking day, undeniably. Like this shit. You think this is all coincidence? Some of you do, because your brains are fucking retarded. Same reason you can't see that these games are rigged. But I'm trying to help you get out of that permanent fucking retardation that your mind's stuck in. It's because you eat like shit, and it's because you're dumb as fuck. You need to listen to me. You need to follow me. You need to pay attention. I can help you. This is where retards have a hope. More shit. How long have I been talking about Philadelphia and Oakland in the ongoing riddles? Jon Gruden. Rumors start December 30th that he's going to be the coach for the Raiders again. 135 days after his birthday. 135 days. That's the big Philadelphia number. Since figuring out all this, I made a video on this yesterday. Somebody came along and pointed out this right here. Jon Gruden, before being the coach of the Raiders, coached for Philadelphia. Notice this announcement comes with Jon Gruden returning to the Raiders right after the Raiders played Philadelphia on Christmas, before their Week 17 game. This person also pointed out that Madden was the former draftee of the Eagles before becoming the coach of the Raiders. Major connections with Philadelphia and Oakland. Again, the Athletics and the Warriors used to be in Philadelphia. There's always riddles with these cities. This comment right here left by this person, I had to cut off the end part. See how it says personally? I cut off the end because this person, after sharing that and after watching the video, says, personally, I just think it's all a coincidence. You guys who use this word, you're fucking retarded. Look, this guy might have good knowledge of sports, but he's a fucking retard. If you think this shit's a coincidence, you are fucking retarded. You think all this shit over the years and all these different sports leagues is coincidence? God, that word has fucked up your guys' mind. This shit is not coincidence. It's all a fucking script, morons. You know, that same idiot even pointed out that Rich Gannon, who was with the Raiders, is born in Philadelphia. You know? How can you look at all this shit and say coincidence? This is why more people aren't catching on to this work, because they just say that word. All the evidence shows it's a script. And then the fucking retard goes, I think it's a coincidence. I mean, it's just so fucking pathetic. Don't tell me the people of this world aren't under mind control. Coincidence is the word that controls everyone's mind. I think it's a coincidence. I think it's a coincidence. Jesus Christ, man. You think Kobe being born in Philly and his father being drafted by Oakland and Kobe's retirement being synced with Jordan's, whose last game was against Philly, and his retirement being synced with the game going on in Oakland, and then them retiring his jersey the night the Lakers played the team from Oakland? You think all this shit's a coincidence? My fucking God, people. Get it over with. You're not needed, you know? You're not needed. Jack Del Rio. Here's another fucking coincidence, morons. Jack Del Rio, fired on a date with numerology of 43. Jack Del Rio, 43. Not only that, fired 271 days after his birthday, the 58th prime. It's the way it always works. All hirings and firings are by the numbers. How many times do I need to show this? Show this in all sports. NBA, MLB, NFL, every single one. There's never an exception. Is it all a fucking coincidence? Jesus Christ. You know? Darrell called me yesterday. He said, do my Raiders have a chance? I said, not really. I said, date with 43 numerology, Chargers 43, San Diego 43. I know they don't play in San Diego anymore, but they did until this year. Think about how the Raiders used to be in LA. Chargers had 43 riddles all year. But this is why they made the Raiders tank this year. They were a good team last year. They made them shitty this year. It's because it's all part of the scripted narrative of bringing Jon Gruden back. Notice Jack Del Rio. I mean, look, you guys, if the NFL was real, why would they always hire these shitty coaches? Like, Jack Del Rio is just a proven loser. Why would any team hire him, you know? So here's Cardinals, one of the original NFL teams. The Bears and the Cardinals, the two original NFL teams. Chicago. Used to be the Chicago Cardinals. 26. AFC wins the Super Bowl this year over the NFC. It'll be the 26th Super Bowl win. But I just saw this right away. the Seahawks lost yesterday with a Blair Walsh missed field goal, and that gave me deja vu of what I exposed 2 years ago. Speaking of coincidence, I remember all the comments to the video. I showed how Blair Walsh shanked the easy 27-yard chip shot, costing the Vikings advancement in the playoffs over the Seahawks. And I showed that day how Walsh equals 27. It was a date with 27 numerology. That video had 10,000 comments, everyone saying, "What a coincidence, idiot." I mean, the only idiots are people who don't know sports are rigged. You got to be so fucking retarded to not know that these games are rigged. I can't emphasize it enough. I have to say it 10,000 times a video because it's the truest shit in the world. These games are so pathetically rigged. You got to be so fucking retarded to not know. You got to have shit for brains, which is what almost everyone has. Same reason you fucking retards can't see through all the lies in the media. You can't see through the rigged elections, you know. Just a society of fucking retards. That's how they can mock your ass, these Zionist Jews that run the league that go by the Talmud. Again, read the Talmud. It's the truest spiritual text out there. Non-Jews are fucking retards. They're goyim. They're barn animals. It's a fact. It is a fact. That's why these pieces of shit rule over all of you, because you're too fucking retarded. Not that they're that much smarter. And all the people who troll me and say, "Zach's a Jew," possibly that genetically I am, and it's probably true because it's probably the reason I can see through all this obvious bullshit where you fucking retards can't. You see? It's the way it works. Go read the books that Ashkenazis produce. They have 30 more IQ points than you on average. And you're looking at someone who has 100 more IQ points than you on average. It's an underestimate. But look at this shit. Blair Walsh misses a 48-yard field goal. The Seahawks would have missed the playoffs anyway, but it's all symbolic. Check this out. Seahawks equals 48. Remember, they won Super Bowl 48? Seattle Seahawks in reduction equals 43. They won with 43 points. The Super Bowl that began with a safety through the back of the end zone. All part of the script to get to the awkward score of 43. Seahawks in reduction also sums to 24. You know, they lost 24, missed 48-yard field goal. But here's where it gets great. The day Blair Walsh missed the 27-yarder, the date with 27 numerology, Walsh 27, that advanced the Seahawks in the playoffs. I mean, think about how stupid the NFL is. Do you remember when Tony Romo fumbled the little snap for the goal line field goal that would have beat the Seahawks in the playoffs? I live in Seattle. I was in a bar when that happened, and all these people were like crying and having a hissy fit, all these Seahawks fans. I said, don't start crying. These games are scripted. Yeah, I said, they might fuck it up right here. They love to punk the Cowboy fans. Everyone was like, no, it's not going to happen. Then it happened. I'm telling these people the games are all rigged. And then it happened, and all these people are celebrating. Buy a round for everybody. I mean, just everybody's going nuts. I was like, look at these fucking retards. They're all crying. They're all a bunch of little babies, not seeing how stupid these games are. Then their team wins, and they all get even more drunk. Society of fucking rejects. Anyway. From the game where he missed the 27-yarder to yesterday's miss, now as a member of the Seahawks, Blair Walsh now plays for the Seahawks. You know, same guy who missed the field goal to advance, now he's a member of their team. And I mean, just think about that. Why would you hire some fucking loser if the games are real? If a guy is like so shitty that he can't make a little chip shot to advance his team in the playoffs, he should never have a job in the NFL again. Why would anyone hire a guy that sucks that fucking bad? You know what I mean? I mean, the fact that you guys can't see through all this obvious shit just speaks to how stupid you are. Do you know how many people in the world can kick a football? There's a lot of them. Why would you go hire some fucking loser that's already proven what he is? Can't make a little 27-yard chip shot? That's the last person you want on your team. Anyway, from his miss to the Seahawks miss that ends their season 103 weeks, which is the 27th prime number. I'm sure you fucking retards who can't do math either think that's a coincidence. It's not. It's not at all. Seahawks sign ex-Vikings kicker Blair Walsh, all mocking. All mocking. Everything's mocking. You know, this city that I live in, they say Seattle has like some of the most intelligent people. No. This is one of the dumbest fucking cities alive. Everybody in this city's wardrobe is a Seahawks jersey and a Seahawks t-shirt. You can't even find anybody else dressed in anything. For these people to still be buying tickets and going games just shows how fucking dumb they are. I mean, did they not see how Tom Brady won the Super Bowl against him? Date 2-1, 2/1, the down 2nd and 1. You got the best running back in the league who's never ran for less than a yard in his life. All you got to do is give him the ball and win the Super Bowl. What do you do instead? You drop back for Russell Wilson's first pass at the goal line. His 21st pass of the game, intercepted by number 21, who goes down to the ground with 21 seconds left. All script, you know? Then last year, the 25-point comeback on 2/5 against the Falcons 25 for another bullshit Brady Super Bowl. You know? What did I tell you about Marvin Lewis beating the Ravens to close out his Bengals career? If you missed my video on the day Marvin Lewis announced he was resigning after 15 years, before week 15, if you missed that, I said look for him to beat the Ravens. That's who he used to coach for. Bengals finished 7-9. 79's the 22nd prime. He does it to the Baltimore Ravens in their 22nd season. 22 men on the field. Playing spoiler for his old team. It's not hard to see how these things are scripted. Also interesting, just put out a video about why they sew 108 footballs for the Super Bowl. This is the motto for the Super Bowl this year, Bold North. Bold North theme. 108, number of geometry. Notice the 135 as well. That's the big number in Philadelphia. Philadelphia established on a date with 135 numerology. You know, the key of David equals 135. Letter to the Church of Philadelphia about the key of David. Fly, Eagles, fly equals 135. Kobe Bean Bryant equals 135. He was singing the song before Philadelphia played LA. Told you guys Philadelphia would win that game. They won it by the numbers. So anyway, we'll see what happens.